We took the Windrose 18 out on a shakedown cruise just to see what was happening. And one of the things we found out was that the mainsail came with a bolt rope. Well, a bolt rope is just a rope stitched into the side of the mainsail that slides up the mast. And that's okay. I'm sure it gets, it's pretty efficient. The boat was very responsive. I enjoyed it. It was turn on a dime, get up to speed really fast. But when it came to dropping the mainsail, what happens is that when you lower the mainsail that has a boat rope, the whole sail just slides out of the track of the mast right out onto the deck. And when it's out on the deck, if you're in high winds or high seas, that's where you don't want it. So that's a little bit of troublesome because you're trying to travel to the front of the boat to do something with the jib, and you're slipping and sliding on the mainsail, which is scattered all over the deck. Well, how do you fix that? We're going to find out right now. Okay, so here's the sail for the Windrose 18, and you may notice that this doesn't have slugs in it. What it has is a bolt rope, and what this bolt rope does is slides up inside the mast track. And as I said before, if you try to drop the mainsail while you're underway, and a lot of times you want to do that, you want to stop and park somewhere, you throw down an anchor and then you drop the mainsail. But if the mainsail is sliding out of the mast track, it's just going to slide right out onto the deck, and it's going to be in the way. We would rather be able to drop the mainsail and have it bunch up around the boom. Now what I'm showing you here is the boom. Now the solution to this is just to add in some, we'll have to add grommets, slugs, and shackles. Now what you see here is what I've done a few already. And let's take a look at it. Here is a grommet, a slug, and a shackle. Now it might be more of a convenience than anything else, but for a serious sailor, this is going to be pretty important stuff. This is more than just a convenience. This is a necessity. Okay, so let's take a look at how we put one of these in. So I guess I'll supply a list of tools required to do this. A list of supplies. Of course, you need these, which are called the slugs. You need these, which are the shackles. And also, you need these. You need these, which are the grommets. Right? Because the way this is set up, it had to go through the stitching, and I didn't like going through the stitching. I would like to put these things through this between the stitching, but I couldn't get it to. Wouldn't be able to fit the grommet inside there. I had to go right through the stitching, and so what I decided to do is put some sail tape and wrap it around this before I begin. And then what I'll do later on is I'll stitch. What the sail tape does is it helps prevent these stitches from coming loose, because when you put holes in the stitches, these are going to start coming loose. Now the grommet will help prevent a little bit of that, but not a lot of it. The sail tape will help it from unstitching, but really if you want the sail tape to stay in place, you need to stitch that in also. So what I'll probably do is maybe stitch something between here, make a big U around this to help prevent any of this from unstitching. Now, any of you who've ever purchased a sail know that these can cost up to thousands of dollars. This particular sail can run between $500 and $800, so I don't want to damage it. Now, some of the experts will tell you to put these about 26 inches apart, and I've got a small boat, so I decided to put these about 24 inches apart. And the way I'm doing this, I just measure it. Right? Get out about 24 inches. And one of my most important tools, of course, is measuring and marking. Alright, so let's get 24 inches up there. Measure from there to about right there. Now this doesn't need to be exact, but you do want to get, not perfect, get kind of close, right? Alright, from here over to my next spot, which is going to be about right there. And then I'm going to make 2 more marks. I have this up here, about 1.5 inches off of this center here, and I'm going to mark it over here. So 1.5 inches this way, and 1.5 inches this way. And what this is going to tell me is where my sail tape is going to go. Now I've got, and it's 3 inch wide. The sail tape I'm using is 3/10 inches wide, and I'm going to use a 4-inch piece of it. So let's measure that out. Looks like I cut that last one crooked. As you can see, I've already made a few of these. Making it a little bit longer is no problem. I'm going to cut this. So this is going to be the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the sail tape. Alright, so tape measure, ink pen, and notice when I undo sail tape, I don't cut it with the backing on it because backing comes off. If you cut it at the backing, it's really hard to get it started again. Okay. Alright. And what I'm going to do, sail tape you pretty much consider to be a permanent addition. So now I'm going to put it between here and here. And I want it equal on both sides. So I'm going to kind of like line it up this way. And then I want this to wrap closely to the bolt rope. I don't want any wrinkles in it, so I'm going to be very careful about getting this right down to the bolt rope. This really is just step 1. And fold that over, and then again just get it right in close to the bolt rope so it folds in underneath it. Make sure there's no wrinkles. There are no wrinkles underneath. So these are fairly closely matched. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 1 slug, 1 shackle, and I'm going to see about where they fit inside here. Let's wrap this up inside here. Okay, and I've got a spot about right there. Once again, back to my marker. And I'm going to mark where the hole is going to go. This is where we're going to put the grommet. Alright, so to make the grommet, we're going to get a little piece of wood, and this is going to be, this is a hole cutter right here. It's a little piece of wood and a hole cutter. And what these will do is make a hole. It's just about perfect. And probably need to get another piece of wood here somewhere. It's just about perfect for that. I'm going to line up this guy, probably a little bit away from it. You notice I've got a table here that I'm doing the hammering. I'm not doing the hammering in the middle of the table. I need the hammering at the most strongest point on it, so I'm doing it on the leg. Right there. Okay. Might get loud. Okay, so remember how I was talking about how much, you know, you had to take that little thing, you had to pound it and make the hole, right? And I was toying with the idea you do make the hole, of course, but you don't need to do it. You can do it. Just thinking about the shape of that tool and the way you're supposed to use it. You put a little block underneath it and you set that down, you set your tool on top of it, you hammer it in. And it's a good way to bash in a thumb, and if you don't want to use the tool, you can use the X-Acto knife, and that's a good way of putting a hole in your finger. You know, this thing will fit into my drill, and it's a sharp edge, and I thought, you know, this seems a little bit safer, so toss away the X-Acto knife, let's get rid of the hammer, let's try this with a drill and see what happens. And so I tried it with the drill, you need one with a good battery in it, but that's it, we're in there. The drill works 10 times better. You don't have to endanger yourself. There's a little bit of cutting, minimal. You can keep going. It'll cut all the way through eventually, but I figured, you know, it's cut it far enough. All you gotta do is a little bit of stitching with this. You do have to get it started and stay on course. I mean, I didn't stay on course this time because I had the camera and I moved aside so that you could see it. Okay. But there it is. The next little bit is inserting 10 times easier. Alright, so that's an addendum to pounding at this with a hammer. So try that way, it works a little bit better. I'm going to fold down over, and then we have a little bit of a, this comes with a piece, and again I'm going to do this right on the leg of the table. And you got to make sure you have this fully inserted or fully seated inside that. All right, so let's look at this. This little kit. What happens is, we'll talk about this real quick. This sets inside of here, all right, and then the top part of the grommet goes inside, and then you clip this. What this does is it folds down this part here, and that will curl into it and fold over to secure around the material. So they will supply some bit of holding, keeping the threads from moving around too much. I'm still going to stitch around this to finish the job, but the first part is it has to seat firmly inside of there. Now, because I'm going to be putting a lot of punch on this thing, I'm not going to do it on the weak section of the table. I'm going to set it over here. Takes a little bit of fiddling, but make sure you have it firmly seated. Okay, completely seated. Otherwise, it's not going to go right. Yeah, let's get everything going again. One more time. Let's set this on that little piece right on the leg of the table. Get that down inside there. Make sure this is set. It's slipping around. Don't let it slip around. Make sure it's seated. It's a little bit tricky to do this. Get that seated and you're ready to go. one you don't. Wait a second, I thought I had it upside down. Okay. Okay. Now, you might think you're done, but the thing you gotta make sure of is that this can't wiggle around. Because if it's wiggling around, it's not all the way down. And it looks like it's nice and secured. And if you want to give it a little bit more of a spanking there, just go ahead and slide it down some more. Now this one was good when I got a hold of it. And I looked at it the first time, but the very first few that I did this, I got it down, I thought, oh, it's done, and then I got to looking at it and it was loose. So make sure it is secure before you decide you're done. The last little piece is to install the slug and the shackle. Those slide right on through there. And then, last piece we need is going to be a screwdriver. Right here. Okay. Slug, shackle, and grommet with the little piece of sail tape. This will hold for a while, but eventually I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch that with a sewing machine. It's not going to be part of today's assignment. And that's how you do that. I'm Dr. Bob. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching my program. If you like my videos, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And for an organized listing of my YouTube videos, go to my website, www.wherearemyplacebos.com, and click on videos. Have a great day.